Okay.
All right, we live. All right. Tonight we have Verrick Falcon from Houston, Texas. So, well, I already put it on there. Where are you from?
From Houston, Texas.
Are you born and raised here in Houston?
Yeah, I grew up off of Scarsdale in the Sage Glen neighborhood right here, like kind of close to Alameda Mall. You know what I'm saying?
Right off of 45?
Yeah, pretty close. The same neighborhood where we're at right here, where you're at almost.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So any websites or Facebooks or anything you want to promote?
Usually just my Instagram, Enhanced Air 713, or on my Facebook. I'm a clown on Facebook though, so I got my Facebook, Verrick Falcon. Just, but I think you can look me up under Enhanced Air by Verrick. Facebook, however, Enhanced Air by Verrick, and it'll come up on it.
Either one of those, huh? So,
Yeah, yeah.
how long you been airbrushing?
Since about, I would say 1996, I started airbrushing, just kind of like dabbling with it and whatever, playing around in my parents' backyard, just building little model cars and crap, toying around. I didn't really know what I was doing or have nobody to kind of guide me or anything like that. I just, just I thought it looked really cool, the effects and all the fades and stuff. So I just begged and begged my parents to buy me a little airbrush set, and just went from there, man. So
Yeah. So, how did you find out about airbrushing? Is just something once you saw the model cars or something?
well, yeah. So the first time I ever saw some airbrushing, like my brother, he came back from he had went somewhere on a little trip, and he got like an airbrush tank top or something. And I just thought it was so cool, man. Like how the graphics were, the name, the lettering, and crap like that, and all the colors and stuff, and it kind of sparked my interest. But I didn't know what it was. I had no clue at all, how they did it or whatever. And then slowly, people were like, "Oh, well, that's airbrushing," So, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. And are you basically self taught?
pretty much. I can't really attribute anybody to say that they taught me stuff. I mean, people have like given me tips and pointers over the years, and I've kind of like paid attention to what they're doing, or in the background of their photos, like, hey, well, what is he using that for, and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I narrowed down a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just figure a
Uh,
way.
Ed, one of the questions I was going to ask you, if somebody already asked, was Ed said, "Have you ever done T-shirts?"
So I've only probably done like 5 T-shirts in my whole entire career, and
Man,
that's yeah, that was just like for friends or buddies of mine that were just kind of like goofing around. They just wanted something, They're like literally like walk up and while I'm in the shop and be like, "Hey, put something on my back," while I'm there working on a car or something. Just kind
so
of screwing around. I have done some more like where I took my time and made it like a little project, but still, it was probably like 5 max.
yeah, that's crazy, man.
I
You
probably used the wrong paint and everything. Like I just used whatever paint I had and whatever. It wasn't no T-shirt paint or nothing. So,
know,
but yeah, yeah.
and Marcus said it says, "Nice work." He's seen your work. It made him want to do something. Can you see the questions on the screen?
No, I can't see nothing, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait. Yeah, I guess so. Nice work. When I see his work, maybe want to do something. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, Marcus. I
Yeah,
see it now. Hold on. Look, if I go bigger, I could probably. Okay, there. Now I see.
there you go. So, what was your first airbrush you got?
So my first airbrush, I don't know if you remember, there was a little tester brand airbrush set, and all it had, dude, was like a little kind of like the little paint cup, and the air would just pass over the top of the little nozzle. Like it didn't even have like a siphon or a straw or nothing like that. So that's what I had. That I would just kind of basically try to paint with that, and then after that, I upgraded. They had another one that was kind of like the Aztec airbrushes that they have. It's
Oh,
like a single action, and they got like a plastic body to them and crap. And it's also Tester brand. So that was kind of like the upgrade from that. And then I evolved to I had done some artwork, like kind of screwing around on some cardboard and stuff or whatever. And this kid at school saw it, and he was all like, "Hey man, that's pretty cool, Luke. Like, how'd you do that, dude?" Or whatever. I was like, "Well, I did it with an airbrush." He said, "Man, I got an airbrush." I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, it's a Pache." Da, da, da. I didn't know what he was talking about, what. And he was all like, "I'll sell it to you, man. It's a whole kit for $80." I was like, well,
damn.
"Okay, cool." Like, so I was like, working at the time. I was in high school, I got my little monies together and I gave him the $80 for the airbrush, and there you go. I picked up from the Pache, and then just started playing with that for a good long time, and then just kind of got the hang of it and started like teaching myself the trigger control and all that, and getting better with the aim and just the
Yeah.
regular fundamentals of airbrushing, man. Just trying to work on all that. I could never do the faces or the whatever. I would do girls and stuff. I would do their body and everything, like the whole 9 yards, legit. But when it came to the face, I could never get it. I just kept staying at it. But yeah, and then after that, playing around, whatever. Finally, one day, an airbrush rep from Iwata, he like stumbled in at the dealership where I was working at the time, and he was all like, "Hey, you do airbrush? You should try an Iwata." So then I got the Iwata HPCS, and from there I had that for like the longest time. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like a whole progression kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you what you use. Now you use the the gravity feds though, HPB.
Yeah, I use the HPCS most of the time. I did recently buy buy two of the HP. What are they called? The HPBCs. They kind of have the little throat down at the bottom. They're gravity fed too. I bought a couple of those just because they were cheap, and I just didn't feel like messing with my other airbrushes for a while, and I just wanted some, accuracy because my other airbrushes are kind of beat up. I neglect them, man. I don't take care of them, whatever I should, but you get in a hurry or get lazy or whatever, and forget about them, and they go to shit, but yeah, so typically I have the HPCSs, and then like I said, I have those HPVs. I have one custom micron that my wife got me like I think like 2 years ago for my birthday, or maybe it was an anniversary gift. I can't remember, dude. But I tend not to use it too much. I mean, I do use it, but it's so finicky and precise, man, compared to like an HPCS or something. I'd rather get in there and rough it out with the HPCS. You know what I'm saying? And just tough it out instead of the custom microns. You got to have it like fine. Everything's just got to be just right, and it'll work. Great, but it's just so finicky because they're so precise. But that's pretty much what I normally use.
So, what was your first paid airbrush job that you did?
My first paid airbrush job, honestly, was a freaking poster board, dude. It was like for a buddy of mine, and he wanted to say Roel and Nikki or something, and it was like a big old heart with like a banner on it, and like some cursive lettering and stuff, and like a Cupid's arrow kind of thing. And I think he gave it to her like on Valentine's or something, and he had it like all rolled up. I think he paid me like $15 or something.
Oh yeah,
I was still in high school, and I knew both him and his girlfriend or whatever, and I just thought it'd be cool to do. But that was like my first paid gig, and then after that, it was years before I really started like feeling any kind of money off of,
Yeah. So, did you ever work at a shop before you started your own stuff, or it was just always just you?
So I used to work at a shop called Milburn's Custom Paint here in Pasadena. They were open since like the 50s. They're like an old custom van shop, and they did like motorcycles and crap. I worked there. I've worked for my own shop. Me and my brother, we opened our own shop back in Kingsville, Texas, a long time ago. Other than that, I've worked at various dealerships over the years. Really starting out, it's kind of like how I got into the airbrushing and automotive, custom paint. Is I worked as a painter's helper and like the body shops and the dealerships of Ford and Chevrolet and whatever in the little town that we lived in. And you kind of learn about quality and doing stuff like that, and learning how to do things the right way, and getting certifications and crap for being like a painter. So then besides that, then, behind the scenes, I would always just kind of play with my airbrushes and stuff with the leftover paint and crap that we'd have or whatever. But yeah, so as far as a airbrush shop, it was only really Milburn's Custom Paint that I did work at. I think I worked there for probably like 3 to 5 years. I can't remember.
I remember Milburn's. I didn't know
Yeah.
where they're at, but I remember I used to see them at the bike rallies all the time.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah,
used to
yeah.
have like a big illustrious setup where they were setting
Yeah,
up.
yeah. They'd have all kinds of tins out there with the bike parts all painted, and you could go to the rally. It was really cool because you could go to the rally and they would trade out your parts. So you could basically go to the rally with one looking bike, then buy parts from him on site at the rally. They would dismantle your bike and then put together the bike with the new parts, and then you ride out and you leave him your tins like as cores. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool, man. I learned a lot there. As far as bikes and color matching and stuff like that, and just trying to really what I learned there is having to deal with people's wild ideas, because people come in there and they ask for some crazy ass stuff, and it's like, well, dude, how am I going to paint this? Is not me, like whatever. But that's kind of what helped groom me to that, being able to take in oddball crap that customers come out of left field with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because before I didn't know you then when I used to see those bikes at Millburgers. I didn't know probably half that stuff out there probably was your stuff.
Kind of, sort of. Like I came in towards the tail end, like right when they closed down. I think in 2012 or something like that. So anything that you would have seen from me probably would have had to have been anywhere between 07 to like 2010, and then from 2010 I still kind of did work for them up until they closed, but it was a little rarer, just kind of in between when they needed me on stuff. Yeah. But yeah, maybe so. You might be right.
Yeah. Who was your biggest inspiration as far as what you watched? Like who did you look at to get inspiration?
So growing up as a kid, I was into lowriders, big time. And the airbrush guys back then that to look at were OG Abel, and there's also another Abel Izagirre. I don't know. He doesn't really do social media from what I could see, but he was really good. He was always in the magazines. There was other painters, the Candy Factory and Rob Vanderslice. There's a bunch of painters, dude, that I can't even name them all. It wasn't necessarily just airbrush. It was just custom paint, period. Craig Frazier, what's his name? Giuliano, what's his name? K Daddy and all them guys, the custom paint thing in general kind of sucked me in. I can't really say it was just an airbrush guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like kind of, that drew me into it.
So what made you choose automotive over t-shirts? Did you just didn't like t-shirts, or is just automotive was just easier for you?
That was already in my wheelhouse. So like I kind of always wanted to be a painter. To paint cars. I've been around cars like all my life, dude. Like my dad, he didn't really like build custom cars or anything like that, but he was always in the driveway tinkering on his cars and stuff and this and that. And we would, go out there and mess with stuff. And we were always around old cars, and to get an old car, I mean, everybody's dream is like, man, I got an old car. Well, now I got to paint it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, well, who's going to paint it? And then you don't trust nobody with your car to paint it. So it's like, well, we got to figure this out on our own, So that was it, just kind of roughing it out and trying to build our own cars or work on our own stuff and not having to have anybody else help us do it, and it kind of built that need, it was there. So also too, like I worked for a record service when I was real young in high school, and the guy that I worked for, he built all his own record trucks. So like he would do the lettering on them and the two-tone paint jobs or stripes and crap, and or we'd build the beds, and then we'd have to like go back and clean up all the welds and bondo and kind of like you would build a welding rig or something, on the back of a truck, but it was a tow rig, so we built those and learning the whole ropes of paint and body work. I mean, that was just all I knew and wanted to do. You know what I mean? And like seeing the lowriders with the airbrushing and stuff like that. And, it's just so like you can sit there for hours and just look at these paint jobs, and the metallics and the pearls and candies and just, dude, it's like making me want to choke up. You know what I mean? It's just like the coolest shit ever, dude. Like you go to a car show and you see these cars, and my dad would take us to the car shows, and it was just being around all the car shit. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it. It was never nothing to do with t-shirts. Like once I figured out the airbrushing on the t-shirts, and like even with photographs, like my dad would say, like, well, if you learn how to airbrush, you can touch up these photographs and whatever, like,
Oh yeah.
well, what the hell, like I didn't know, but I was like, well, cool, I didn't know you could use it for all that. And then you work on cars and stuff, it worked for that. So that's kind of where I went with that.
So
it kind of came naturally, I guess you could say.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get the faces down?
So, man, I really don't even feel like I have them down. I look at the faces all the time that I do and whatever, and I still, want to tweak and get better. But before I actually felt confident, and like people really started to, pat me on the back, like, hey man, you got it. Or like the first person I made like cry, like you paint something of this dead person that they lost or whatever, and they just lose it. It's like, I would say it took me a good maybe 2 years or so to kind of get it, dialed in, where I was like, okay, yeah, I can paint whoever I want, like,
yeah,
give me another person, like whatever.
I can't do it for nothing in the world, man.
No, I like your caricatures and stuff though, man. It's fun, it's cool. You have a different view of looking at people, and that's how a lot of people look at people, and
yeah,
you can whip it out. You know what I'm saying? You can whip it out and put it on paper. Like, honestly, I'm better with airbrushing than I am drawing. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like I can draw, like, don't get me wrong, but like the fading, the shades, and like, but you got it down. You do your thing, man. So but everybody's got their little niche. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I think the face stuff with me, it just kind of came because I'm just so anal. I'm just like real picky about everything, and I just sit there and it'll keep me up all night, dude. If something doesn't look right, and I have to go back and fix it. I'll sleep on it, or I'll even ask my wife. Like, man, what do you think? Is there eyebrow? Is it? Is it?
Yeah, it'd be just little bitty things that throw it out, the whole thing off.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
Eyes always throw everything out.
Yeah. And so I have like a new, I guess, policy, you could say. I try not to do no portraits like smaller than a fist. So like if it's like smaller than a fist or like the palm of your hand, like, dude, I don't want to do it, because like I've done portraits that are like a thumbnail, a thumb size like that, and oh my god, it's so hard. You make one little mistake and you drop the ball and everything. But so that's kind of like my policy, is like if it's about palm size, I can do it. Up to life size. Big stuff, I haven't really too much experience in like doing like wall murals or graffiti or anything. Like, I don't know how them guys do that, where they could do a whole wall mural and crap. Like that's mind-boggling to me. So
yeah, I see they put the letters,
they'll kind of scribble, right?
The numbers now. Yeah, and then they project on it, or somebody look on the phone and put it over the image, and then they do it that way. I've been seeing that lately.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So have you done it?
Yeah, I've seen that. It's kind of breaking up. I've seen that, and what's his name? Antolin Torres. He mentioned that's kind of like another grid form of doing the artwork and measuring, and for your reference or whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've never tried that.
What about you have any show cars out there? What was your first show that you ever had a car out?
That's a good question. I guess first actual show car, well, wasn't really, man, I can't say. The first ever trophy I won a best paint trophy. And what had happened is me and my brother, we didn't want to work at this dealership we were working at, and I got fired first, honestly, and we ended up opening our own shop. My brother, he ended up quitting. This other dude, he ended up quitting and whatever, and we opened up a shop together. And we didn't get no business, dude. We were just like sitting around, twiddling our thumbs. And I told my brother, I said, man, you know what? We just need to paint something really, really cool. And we painted his little Blazer truck that he had, and it was like his daily truck. And man, I tried to paint it like Craig Fraser style with all the graphics on it and crap, and like airbrush and all in the little graphics and little detail stuff, to kind of like drum up work. And that little truck went on to win my first little best paint award.
Oh, nice.
And so that was like, I felt like, oh yeah, I got this. We can win some little car shows, and it brought in work. People saw my brother's truck, and they're like, man, who painted that? And y'all did that. You did that here, and so it kind of grew legs from there and took off.
Yeah. How did you figure out your pricing? Did you just like?
I can't figure out pricing. I hate it, man. I hate it. Like I've tried to narrow it down to like an hourly rate or whatever, but it's impossible, man. Because like sometimes you just want to fix something just because you don't like it, and like some people might be satisfied with it. Like, man, it looks good, leave it alone, But if it's bugging
We're our
me,
own worst critics.
Yeah, exactly. So if I feel like if it's gonna take me an hour or two to fix this thing, I'm just gonna do it. Like what do I got to lose? I got to make money, but I still want to do a badass job. You know what I'm saying? So um, I can't really put an hourly rate on it and whatever. A lot of times I'll just kind of ballpark. If I know it's going to take a week or a couple of days or whatever, then I'll kind of budget like I need to make X amount of dollars a day, or what have you, or whatever. I got to buy this color. If I know, like, man, I don't got any of that color, dude, I got to buy that color, and then I'll budget from there, and kind of incorporate it into the bill, or I let the customer know, hey, I'm gonna need this, and that, and whatever. But it's hard. I hate pricing. It's my worst thing. I feel like I'm always getting the short end of the stick. And I put my heart too much into stuff, and it bites me in the butt later. So. But
I know the feeling. That's the same thing with t-shirts. I think I'm cheap,
yeah.
But it's like I hear everybody else's price. I'm like, but I'm satisfied with the price I'm giving. I mean, I'm living off of what I'm doing, but it's like I feel like I'm undercharging some people sometimes.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, and I guess that's the nature of the beast, though. It's just part of learning and living life.
Yeah. So what was the other thing I was going to ask you? So did you have so when did you start doing the planes, like Millionaire? So it's like
so the plane stuff started when I worked for Milburn. We did some raffle bikes for Millionaire, and they liked the work that they saw, and I had done like a Warbird plane on site for them. And the owner of Millionaire, he kind of like didn't know that I was the airbrush guy, and he was like, "Hey, you're the airbrush," because I was doing it through Milburn, and he was all like, "Man, the whole time you were the one doing our bikes and this and that." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And he's like, "Man, you're gonna be a star one day or something." He tells me, I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
But I don't know how. I don't know if I gave him my number that day or not. But somehow, some time passed after that. That job and me meeting that guy. His name was Roger. Some time passed after that, and then I was out solo on my own, and I wasn't really having a lot of work. Whatever, I was at home and just kind of bumming around, and down on my luck. And he gave me a call one day, and he's like, "Hey man, you remember me? It's Roger. This and that." And he's like, "I got some shit on an airplane that I need fixed and whatever." So like, you come check it out. And I went and checked it out. I was like, "Yeah, I can fix it." I just saw it. It's just paint. It's just something else that needs to be painted and have color or whatever. And it was just some technical stuff. It wasn't, artwork or anything like that. It's just, painting the inside of the cockpit and, taking care of making sure you don't screw up all the lettering and all the gauges and crap and just real intricate stuff, And so I agreed to it and I did it. And they signed me up. They gave me a drug test and all this crap. I didn't work for them. I was just kind of doing contract work, and they got me all set up, in their system where they could pay me and crap. And then they used me on a few jobs, and then it died off for a long time. And then because they had a painter that would paint the exterior of the plane, something happened with them between him and them, and they ended up needing paint repairs to the exterior. And that guy, he had fell out or whatever. So they called me and they're like, "Well, hey, we know we've had you do interior stuff in the past on our cockpits and crap. Do you think you can do some stuff on the outside?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, sure. It's paint, whatever. Like, I'll go check it out, So I go check it out, and, then they're like, "Yeah, go ahead and fix it and whatever." So I kind of I had to learn the ropes because they're telling me like, "Well, you can't do this. And, this airplane stuff has to be like this, and we use this, and we're not
Oh
supposed to use
wow.
that, and
Oh
and there's a whole stipulations where. So I kind of like taught myself that too with their help, using because they have certifications and inspectors that sign off on all this stuff, So we kind of go over that, and there's some gray area where you can kind of get away with, and where I would be like, well, yeah, I know we're supposed to do it like this, but let's use this because this is what I do all the time, and it works for cars. Like it's gonna work for your airplane, and we
yeah.
did it, and stuff works and whatever. But there's a real fine line with you can't always do that. Certain planes, if you sell seats on a plane, you have to like stick to the guidelines that the plane is made by and everything. Like you can't like modify it or anything like that. But if it's your plane, you can kind of get away with some more stuff. But
That's,
so learning all that and dealing with that because like we worked on a lot of their planes and stuff. So there was that whole, they helped kind of teach me and whatever. But I fell in with that and it worked out pretty good. It ended up taking up most of my schedule, and they pay and they're happy. I mean, the only thing is there's a quick turnaround. They want everything now. And
yeah.
that's the only downfall. But the plus is that the colors is just like we just want this painted white, or this painted blue or whatever. So it's real simple and straightforward, and it's just like bread and butter money. You know what I
So
mean?
is a different grade of paint that you have to use for a plane, or
Um, it's kind of like all the same principles, but like a lot of their stuff is polyurethane, so it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, dude. It's like liquid plastic or something, man.
yeah.
It's tough stuff, and like once you spray it to buff it and crap, if you want to go in there like make it real nice, it takes a little more elbow grease and stuff, to like really make it, like a car show quality paint job kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a little more. There's a little more to it, but yeah, I mean, it's different materials. Pretty much from start to finish, it's all different stuff. But some of it, I guess, you could, apply to the automotive world or whatever. But the thing is like in the airplane world, there's not a lot of like if you think about it, man, you go down the street, there's like automotive body shops like on every corner. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you ride and there's body shops in every corner. So the market is real competitive. So like the technology and the research and all the development going into making automotive paint is like now we need this better. We need this better. In aircraft stuff, you don't see aircraft painters everywhere. On
No,
every
you don't.
block. So the market's a little different. Some of their stuff is a little old fashioned, or whatever. So they're kind of like behind the painting curve. Like if you know old school paint, then you'll be able to paint airplanes and crap because it's like old school. They're still using like a lot of the old school crap. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Because see, I was like, you're the first person I'd ever known or thought about seeing anybody paint a plane. It was like, okay, that's crazy, but hey, that's cool as fuck because that's something else that you put on your repertoire, like
yeah,
painting planes.
yeah. The only thing I don't like about painting planes, I mean, I'm a fat boy, and like there's some yardage you gotta do on them planes, man. Them hangers are big and making your way around, you forget it, roller tape, and you gotta go all the way back around the plane. And so I don't miss none of that. And then also too, the anxiety of missing flights. You don't want to be that guy that missed the flight. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we need this plane by Friday because it's gonna fly, whatever. You don't want to be the guys like, oh, I didn't make the flight. It's like it's not a cool feeling. So I don't miss all that, the pressure, and then plus you're in a big hangar and you're kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature and you
Yeah.
can't control everything. It's not you're not in a booth, or I don't know. It's tough. So, but yeah.
So the last time I remember, you was like starting your own little space in your garage. You open up your own little spot.
So yeah, I have a shop. My shop is in Pasadena. It's always been in Pasadena I wouldn't say always. It's been in Pasadena for the last 9, almost 10 years. I moved in 2014, I think. So yeah, it's almost going to be 10 years. It's a good sized shop. So I had one part of it. My buddy next door, he moved out, and I took over his spot. So now I have like 2 spots. So I have that shop that's in Pasadena, And then at home, I have like my garage or home office kind of studio thing where I can do my airbrush and my, more detail oriented stuff,
Smaller stuff.
smaller stuff where I can chill, be in my own zone.
Yeah.
I can be out there all night, and all I got to do is, crawl inside and go lay down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of sucks because you can't really leave work. You know what I'm saying? You're stuck at home and works at home. But at the same time, it's beneficial because I'm doing stuff at the house or whatever, and
you're occupied.
Yeah, and then sometimes you can't be working on art stuff nonstop. You gotta walk away from stuff for a minute and take a break. You burn yourself out.
Yeah.
So being at home, it's better. When you're at the shop, there's no AC at the shop. It's super hot. There's no AC in my garage here at my house, but still I can escape off into my house and chill for a minute, catch a break, snack on food or something. But at the shop, dude, you're just outside. It's hot. There ain't nowhere to hide. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you're airbrushing, you're sitting in front of a mural all day, you got sweat dripping all down your arms. It's gross, man. It's not fun at all.
Man.
See, it just depends,
I talked to you about t-shirts a long time ago, but
I know. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think about it all the time, man. Sometimes I think like, man, dude, I just wish I had a desk job or something, just chilling, doing something, maybe writing estimates or something at a body shop. I think about it all the time, man. But I don't know. I like the freedom of being my own boss and
doing what I gotta
story.
Do. So but the thing about t-shirts is that it's quicker. It's just it's more stress, but it's quicker, and it's just like, I don't know. Like I told you a couple of times before, like you come in and knock out some shirts if you want. But hey,
I've thought about it, but my thing is too, because like the same thing with like people are like, oh, you should learn how to tattoo or whatever. And,
that's
like,
everybody's thing.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like, and too, with painting shirts and stuff, I'm pretty sure there's some adjustment there in learning the materials and what you can and can't do. And you throw shirts out in the wind, and then they come back to you that are faded or messed up. And there's all that you're gonna have to learn.
Yeah, it's with us, you just got to deal with one person. Us, we got to deal with everybody all day long. So that's probably better for you, less stressful.
Yeah.
So, what kind of jobs are you doing now? Like, well, basically, where do you get your paint from? Is it local?
So I buy all my paint from Tasco Paint Supply. They're off of College. When I do the aircraft stuff, I get my paint from Car Red Wine over off of Long Drive. But most of the stuff I get from Tasco. I majority use PPG. I use House of Color. Sometimes I'll use like Tamco or another brand that I might be experimenting with, or a customer brings me something like, hey man, I got this, you want to use it or whatever, But typically I tend to stick to PPG and House of Color.
Do you have to like what they call it, where you got to put the additive in it or whatever?
I mean, like most stuff, it's 2K. You got hardeners in your clear and reducers and activators. Yeah, and it's car paint, primers and sealers and base coats and all that good stuff, So it's like I said, that's my wheelhouse. Like I have certifications in being automotive painter, PPG certified and crap, and there's a lot to learn in that field alone, So I mean, when guys, they want to airbrush car murals and crap, the thing that I don't like about teaching some of those guys is like that's all they want to learn. It's better if you know the whole 9 yards. Like if you could take a raw piece of metal and then do it from the ground up, and then learn how to airbrush and all that. That's key, because then you don't have to worry that you messed it up and then you go, well, man, I got to send it back to these guys because they got to repaint it for me. Re-clear
it. They want to skip all of that, jump straight to the meat and potatoes.
Right. And that's not, that's not really how it works. You can, there's guys that get away with it and whatnot, but I don't know. I get real skittish because you can screw some stuff up, man. I mean, painting stuff and car materials, it's expensive. It's not
I was
cheap.
going to ask you, have you ever thought about giving classes or anything like that?
So I've done some classes in the past. I think I held 2 classes. I want to say I had 5 to 10 students. I really can't remember. It's been a few years, probably been like 5 years or so. I don't remember what I charged, like $150 a class or something. And I didn't like the class stuff. I might do some classes again. What I messed up on my class stuff last time is I didn't have any criteria like ready. I didn't have like a lesson plan, or
Yeah.
like stuff that I wanted to cover. I just kind of like had everybody there, like, all right, so who's done this before? Who hasn't?
Yeah.
And then just kind of read the room and then go off of that and like just kind of pick up where I thought that they could. But I felt that like, man, I'm sending these folks off like in this little life rafts in the middle of the ocean because they don't know how to paint cars. You know what I mean? And what if they go try this on somebody's car and they go mess it up? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of why I didn't like. But like I said, I didn't have the whole criteria like set up. Because sometimes you don't have to cover all that. But that was my I guess you could say pet peeve with having classes. I think if a guy
good curriculum, like it's people like when they used to have airbrush action, they used to have these classes.
Yeah.
And I went to one that was doing pinstripe. I didn't go to it, but I was there when the guy was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I guess they have a curriculum of what they teach them and how they talk to them about it. I don't think that it's up to you for them to learn it, because it's up to them to like what they comprehend. But other than that, I mean, but it is something you don't want to sit them out there and they mess somebody up car out. Like I went to Verrick's class and he fucked it up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you can still kind of get away with teaching them, a certain amount of stuff, and they can take some of that and go apply it in the real world or whatever. But I think it's wiser of me just, next time if I do it, I need to just have the curriculum set up and, like I said, like some kind of lesson plan or something and basics, so that way also too, it's better for the class and the students where they can really feel like they learned as much as they could and I didn't leave something out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would hate to leave something out like, oh yeah, I should have told them this, and I did that. Like after the class, I felt like that, like, man, I didn't even tell them about this, or, like whatever. And the other thing too is like, I kind of wanted to, I have build up more of my arsenal of airbrushes. So when I have the class, each student could probably have like 2 guns, because last time I only had them with 1 gun each, and it kind of limits the person, if you can do your artwork with 1 gun and get away with it, you got it down, like good for you, but having 2 guns. Yeah. The what?
That's a lot of cleaning in between every time you change.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you set up the class, like say, okay, we're going to do a black and gray photo or whatever, and then, do it like that. And everybody's got their own black and then gray or whatever, black and white, or,
yeah.
And then just leave them with that all day. It'll be hard to clean all the guns at the end of the day, but
that'll be part of the class. They got to learn how to clean the guns anyway.
That's true. I'm sitting there thinking that I'm going to have to clean them, but yeah, I should make them clean them. You know what I mean?
They got to learn how. That's part of learning right there.
Yep.
That's what a lot of people don't know. They want to do just the hard part, the easy part, but you gotta know how to break that gun apart, put it back together. You gotta know how to clean it.
Yep. And I think a lot that intimidates. I think it intimidates a lot of guys when they hit the ground running. They're like, okay, cool, I got me an airbrush, and then they start playing around with it and whatever, and then something don't work, and then they troubleshooting what's wrong with it and all that, and and then it does it because them little airbrushes, man, they put up a fight, and they can be moody and. Sometimes their best friend. Sometimes it's just it ain't having it.
You gonna throw away $150 gun every day? Go buy every job you got.
Yep. You got to tough it out and figure it out.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and you got to know how to troubleshoot it, especially when they're like blowing bubbles back in, and you gotta know what the problem is.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, that's a good thing though. There was another thing I was gonna ask you. God dog it. Hold on, let me go with my notes.
No, it's cool.
I know I gotta let you go soon because you gotta get ready to go. So
what time is it? You got me till 9:45, man. I'm good.
So any advice on up and coming artists? What you would tell them that you learned that you I guess to go back to like almost to the class stuff too. But any advice you would like to give me?
Mm, as far as advice, I would say just try to be different. Try not to do the same thing that everybody's doing. Um, try to make something that's the way you do it. Or like make your own style, create your own style or your own, and try and keep that. Keep doing that. Where I think I got sidetracked in my journey is taking in whatever the hell, whatever. I mean, when you first start out, you got to take in whatever the hell is going to pay the bills. You can't
Yeah,
just pick and choose the work that you get. But once you get to a certain point, you should kind of pick and choose what you want to work on. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like some guys shouldn't, paint mini trucks or shouldn't paint low riders, or they should paint mini trucks and not paint low riders. You know what I mean? Like stick to one thing or what you're good at, and then and stick to that. Don't try and conquer every genre or whatever. I mean, if you can, cool, like more power to you. But some of that, I feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like
yeah. Master
if you
something
master
first.
one field and then you
Master.
create your own style and all that or whatever, I think that's better. But learning all the styles and whatever is good to learn from, and there's a certain point that you want to get past that. But other than that, take your time. If you're up and coming, take your time on your artwork. Don't try and rush through because it'll show. If you rush through, it shows. Um, Also, to use freehand shields. There's a lot of guys that they sit there and think that everything has got to be done with just the airbrush, and like there's so many little tricks and crap. You can use freehand shields. You can like use little erasers and stuff like that, scratching tools and crap. Play around, like there's a lot of little tricks and stuff out there, and like some guys are so caught up with the idea that like, oh, it's got to be all airbrush or it's got to be all by hand, whatever. It's like, dude, no, just do it, whatever you got to do to pay your bills and be happy. Like, do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't try and worry that the paint gods are gonna not accept you for. I didn't do this by hand. Like, dude, just make your money and be happy, man.
Yeah, there's some people who complain about you using shields. There's some people if you use paint brushes. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to use. I don't use that all the time, but it is a tool in my toolbox. Like, hey, if I got to do something right here, man, I just couldn't do it. The thing was this small, dude. Yeah,
yeah,
you had to do something. I mean, figure it out and don't be scared. Like there's no rules. Like it's all art. And there's freedom of whatever. People like they tape a freaking banana on the wall and sell it for like $3 million or whatever, like
they get away with it, right?
yeah, you seen. So like just express yourself and whatever. But I mean, I don't know. That's all I can probably say.
Yeah. What kind of jobs you got going on right now? You got
So right now I'm trying to get this 18-wheeler out. I painted it, I did graphics on it. My boy Sid came and did some pinstripes on it. I cleared it last week, right before all the rain came. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday. And then when the rain came, I couldn't work on it, whatever. So I've been buffing that, I've been wet sanding it, color sanding it, and buffing it out, getting it real nice and slick. After that, I have I have a hood and trunk for an Impala I'm working on. I have a Cadillac trunk that I'm doing for another buddy of mine.
are
I
these
might have
show?
some other
Is this for show vehicles or is just
show
something?
vehicles. Yeah, show vehicles. Lowrider stuff. I have some other crap, little bitty projects that have been lingering around for a long time. And I just need to get them all out and get them done. The airplane stuff has kind of died down for me, and it has its ups and downs, like seasons and crap.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to take advantage of that and them not, hogging up on my schedule. And if I could work on my artwork stuff, then I'll work on my artwork stuff and get it out. But
Have you ever been published in a book or magazine or anything?
So I have been on the cover of Lowrider magazine. My a trunk that I did on a '57 Chevy, it was called '50s Heaven. Um, my mural is on the cover of the magazine. You can see the car and you see my mural there. And then I've come out in the magazine with not like interviewed or like they didn't publish me, but my artworks were featured on
Yeah.
vehicles in I think in like 7 or 8 maybe magazines.
How did that feel? It make you feel like you made it, or
At first, it did. The first 2 or 3 did. Then it kind of died off because there were just like little pictures here and there. It's like, well, that's not really that cool. But
yeah,
but whenever it got on the cover, yeah, I felt like, man, this is all I ever wanted when I was a kid, getting on the cover of Lowrider magazine. It's like it wasn't like my car or anything like that, but it was still my artwork, and it was
it
like,
was your
dude.
work. Yeah,
And then now magazines are obsolete, so it's like that's kind of cool. That was that era. I was a part
yeah.
of that. So
You got to do something a lot of people haven't got a chance to do, or won't
yeah,
ever get a chance to do again.
yeah.
But they say everything is digital now, so
Yeah, exactly.
well. Ed asked a bunch of questions. Ed said, he know K Daddy. He from his town. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, I see that.
He said, how did you learn to do portraits? I think we talked about that earlier.
So, well, I can kind of touch it base into that. When I went to work at Milburn's, there was a guy, he worked there, and he actually ended up dying like 2 months after I worked there, and I had to take over his job. I worked with him for those little 2 months, but they kind of kept him on a tight leash. Like they didn't let him just like be talking and crap. I mean, he's there. We got to make money. I mean, we're at work. So I got to kind of see some of the stuff that he did and the way he did it, and like using like templates and stuff like that, like making your own little templates or whatever. He would do some with like chalk and crap, and it kind of like helped me develop. Like, man, like that's how they do whatever. And then just once he died at the rally, the Galveston rally. He was on his way, and somebody ran him off the road, and he died like massive head trauma and crap, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it blew me away. I had to take his job. Like I wanted his job, and I would like pray, like man, man, please, like if I could just get this job, like man, da, da, da. And the dude died, and then I had to take his job, and it sucked, man. That shit threw me off for a while. But like I said, people asking me to paint stuff. They come in and, hey, we want this picture of so and so and this and that or whatever. It's like, dude, like I don't know if I could do portraits, like. And I seen the way he did some and how he worked the lighting and then, fighting with the guns back and forth. Because I'll use like 2 guns, and just, black or white or whatever, and just boom, 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 to do the colors. That's kind of what taught me. I just kind of I had to do it. I had no choice, just sink or swim and then just being a stickler for detail and just sticking at it, but yeah.
Hey, that's a trauma story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually, when you learn the freehand shit, some people cut out print out the image and cut it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes I'll do it like that. There's other times where I've done it where I'll make kind of like a carbon copy, like where you can put chalk or the Sorrel paper or whatever, where you put it on the back and you can trace it on it. So I've done them like that. I've done it, where you cut it out the templates and make it. It helps to get all the proportions just right. If it's like if it's like some random chick, see, like people don't get it because like if you're painting like a lowrider, or whatever, a hot rod or pinup chick, and it just needs to look like a pretty girl. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to look like, oh, that's Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are a little easier because it could just be like, man, he's got chicks all down the side of his car, and who knows who these chicks are? You know what I mean? They could be off Instagram or whatever, and and nobody's gonna know. Like, oh, that doesn't look like her. It's harder when it's like, oh crap, that that is whoever, and then they a familiar face, and they can critique it like that doesn't look like Tina Turner. It's like, I'm saying, that those are hard, but when it can just look like any chick, whatever, and as long as she's pretty or whatever, gets by, then those are good because it kind of teach you learn the ropes. Like, oh man, I can get away with this, and she looks good enough. Like, leave her alone. So.
Yeah. So another question, Ed, what do you do your own pinstriping?
So I kind of dabbled in pinstriping a little bit. I hate it. I can get away with doing certain stuff as far as pinstriping. Um, I don't pinstripe. I'm not a pinstriper by any means. I use 6713 Michael Cato. He does most of the striping stuff that I've farmed out or had his help on or whatever. If I need some stripe, I'll hit him up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I used to see it used to be guys at the bike rally doing it right on the spot. I'm like, man, that's too
yeah,
steady.
yeah. I can get away with certain stuff. Like I might outline a graphic or something, or like some lettering with striping paint and stuff like that. But I don't. No, I don't do like the they call them tramp stamps and stuff. Like I don't do all of that.
You got to already know how to where you going to go with that brush.
Yeah. I got a lot of love and respect for those guys, man. I can't do that. I'm so picky. Like I see theirs, I see little imperfections in theirs, but you still look at the bigger picture and it's like, man, this looks so cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like they got this tramp stamp on there, and it looks. When you first look at it, it's visual impactful that it's symmetrical. But then when you really get down, you look at it, it's like, it's hand painted and it's not perfect, but it still looks cool. Like, but the little bitty imperfections would hang me up, so long that I just be erasing and redoing it. It's just not worth it, man. It bugs me. I just can't do it,
And they just one stroking it. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they get down. They know what they're doing. I stay away from all that stuff.
And another question Ed wrote was, how do you get people to pay up?
How do I get people to pay up? Don't give them back their stuff until they pay.
Do you? I know us when we do big jobs, it's like we ask for half down, the other half would you pick up?
So yeah, so I used to do that. Sometimes I will still do it, depending on the job. If the job is really big, then I'll try to ask for some money down. Sometimes I'll just take like a third. I used to do the half down stuff, but I like having that bigger cheese to chase. You know what I'm saying? If I can front the money on the job and get away with doing the whole thing without taking any money up front, then I like that, because I have more vested in the project than the customer does. You know what I'm saying? To where, well, I mean, yeah, they may have some fancy show car or whatever. Don't get me wrong, but it's like my artwork, and it's if I didn't ask for no money yet, so like chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like let me do what I gotta do, and then ta-da, here it's done, and then like, hey, I need my money, and by that time they're anxious enough to pay. So I really don't have a problem with people paying. Sometimes I do, because people have their own lives, and they'll be like, man, I don't get paid till next Friday, or whatever, or such and such, and that kind of sucks. But you just try to be courteous and wait, and then just deal with it, But I don't really have a problem people paying. I have a problem with me not charging enough.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's me too. I feel you. Because sometimes it's like I already get paid when they like you can pay half, like I'll pay all of it. Like shit. 3 days go down the road, like fuck, I gotta do something. I already got paid for it, so what's the motivation? Exactly.
There's not that cheese to chase, you got that little drive to keep you going, and then I mean, it's good to get the money up front, but it's not, it just feels good, but it's
you've been spent it by the time the job is time to do the job, and it's like
and that's tough, and a lot of shops fail because of that, they get the money and then they go blow it all, and they can't afford the materials. It's like, oh, I spent all the money, I still got to buy a gallon of clear, and clear's like $700. It's like, so.
Yeah. Do you clear as well, or you just do the paint and you send it out to clear?
I clear as well. If I can get away with not having to clear something, I like that too. There's dudes that they're too scared to clear my stuff. So like they'll be like, nah, if you can clear it, you clear it. I don't want to clear that. You know what I mean? Because they'll be scared they're gonna mess it up or whatever. Shout out to Sig. But yeah, I don't like clearing because it's just like anybody can do it, but then some guys they can't, they clear your crap and it looks like crap, and it's like your name is attached to it, and it's like, why did you clear like that, dude? Like, so. But if I know the guy and it's a certain trust level there, then they can clear it, whatever. Then that's fine too. But
That's why I stopped doing motorcycle helmets, because the
Yeah.
guy was sent to the clear. He would have runs, and they
Yeah.
ain't gonna argue at him. They're gonna argue at me. So I was like, man, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it no more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clearing is a whole art form in itself. You know, being able to clear really good, and then buffing and polishing and all that, and yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Have you ever painted a coffin? Yes, I've painted coffins. I don't know how many I've painted. I don't really like talking about them all. Some of them were for people that I knew or were friends for, or family
Yeah,
members and stuff, and those are tough. They're kind of fun sometimes because it kind of brings out the best in you because you don't got no time for screw ups. You know, you're like all eyes on you. You got to perform. You cannot fail. You're gonna let the whole family down, and there's a funeral counting on you. And all. That's kind of like a rush. You know, you get like an adrenaline rush. Like, man, we got to do this, and we knocked it out of the park. We did it. Like, it looks good. You know, it's good. Like, but other than that, I hate doing them. Like, it's sad. You know,
yeah.
I don't know. And some of them, if it's like some older man or some gentleman that I didn't really know, whatever, it's not that big a deal. But I've had to do some coffins for little kids, and it's
Yeah,
not.
that was my thing at first about RIP shirts. So like, I didn't want to do them because the first ones I did when I first got to Almeida was like the girl was in there, she was crying, or the mom was crying. Then I just dropped the price down real low because I was like,
yeah.
Then I was like, if I don't do them, they're gonna go somebody else, and somebody else gonna do them, and they're gonna make the money, and I'm gonna be like sitting there be like, oh, well, I could have made that money.
Yeah, pretty much, and that's what gets me too. I already kind of like get my heart involved in as far as pricing and all that, and I sell myself short. And then when it's a little kids or something, it's like you feel so guilty, like charging anything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but
dude, like the mortuary, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They charge,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? Like you got to pay for that flower arrangement or whatever. You know, like
yeah.
they don't play around. So it's like,
they
hey,
won't, they won't, and they gonna charge you high.
yeah, you're. So I mean, like that's the thing is like, I mean, what are you gonna do, man? I gotta pay bills too. You know what I'm saying? And
true story.
yeah, so
Ed actually did any gold leafing.
any gold leafing. So I mess with gold leafing here and there. I don't advertise that I do gold leafing, but if it comes down to it, and if I'm like, you know what, I need to do this. This is this would look way better if I gold leaf this, then I'll do it. But a lot of times I don't like messing with leaf. Like I said, unless it like the job really calls for it, and I'm just like, you know what, this will look so cool if I just leaf these letters, or I leaf this stripe right here. You know, it's got to be leafed, and then I'll do it. But I don't try to push leafing, into my work scope.
Is it a hard process, or is just don't want to do it?
I just don't want to do it. That's more pinstripe alley, like my homeboy sick and all that. Like, he's good at that. Like I can't touch him when it comes to that stuff. So as far as it being hard, it is real tedious. You can mess up some stuff up. It's real finicky. You got to be really patient with it. I mean, I know how to do it. I can probably leave something that get me out of a dark alley or something, but I'm not gonna, win best leafing at a car show or nothing. So, but yeah,
It gets out of dark alley.
Yeah.
I've been knowing you for like 10 to 15 years, man. This is the most we've ever talked.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. So, what is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
So this year, I had the worst failure of my career.
Oh man.
I had to do an airplane, and like we had to fix some stuff on this plane. It should have been just like a walk in the park, like a normal day or whatever. I didn't check the air compressor to make sure, because for a long time the air compressor at this shop, it was not working. Well, one day they said, "Hey, the compressor's working over here, and yeah, we need to fix this plane. Go do it, man." The plane, when they fixed the compressor, I don't know what they did, but either way, I had to redo this plane. I painted it 3 times. I painted it once, it messed up. I painted it again. It messed up again. And I whittled down what was wrong. But all three times, I went through, dotted all my I's, crossed my T's, whatever the Q's, R's, and all that, and checked everything and made sure. And then I figured out the compressor was building up water in it. That's what I learned. Moisture is like key. Like I've known about moisture. Like don't get me wrong. Like this is like rookie stuff. Like you learn it in the very beginning. Like oh, you got to have a water trap and all this crap. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like the compressor, I had used it before, and it was fine. And when I had drained it before in the past, it was fine. It had like an automated drain that would drain by itself, and it like had like a hard line to the drain, and and it would purge itself, or whatever. Well, that system messed up, and I didn't know, and like I had just kind of like went up there and like checked on it, like yeah, everything looks good, whatever, like okay, whatever, because they're like yeah, the compressor they fixed it, and it's working. Well, lo and behold, somebody changed the way it drained and the little automatic purge system and whatnot, and the compressor was building up water like crazy, and we had to buy this, fancy filters and crap and whatever to make the job come out right. And dude, that really tested my whole spirits and everything. It just like broke my soul. I was like, man, like, and I had worked in that facility for a long time and done a lot of jobs in there, and it just everything came out great on all those other ones, but for some reason, like they just kept messing up. So, like, dude, like this is not cool. So yeah, that was my biggest.
Get water or what?
So yeah, the compressor it builds sweat, because it's creating hot air, and the ambient air is not hot, so it makes sweat. Just like if you blew, like into a cup, it's gonna fog up the glass or whatever. And the compressor and a system, we had the PPG rep come out and he tested the air, and the air system that you use to paint with, were versus like using air tools and crap is different. But if you're going to paint with, I think the threshold of moisture in the air that they recommend is between like 8 and 12% or something like that. That's kind of like 12 is like walking the fine line. 8 is where you want it or something like that. Anything below 8% moisture in your air is great. Well, the compressor was making 30% moisture in the air.
Wow.
So yeah, we were like 4 times, the amount of moisture that is ideal to spray with. And it what happened is you spray and you can't tell nothing's wrong. Everything looks fine, or whatever. But then you come back the next day, dude, and everything would just swell up and bubble up like lizard skin, and it had never done that before. So what it was is, well, like the paint in the airplanes, they're aluminum, and the aluminum would react with the moisture, and it creates like a flash rust, if you will, and it just gas out and screw stuff up. So that was my biggest screw up. But other than that, as far as airbrushing, I never really had stuff airbrush that I did screw up. I mean, sometimes I'll splatter something on a face or whatever, but nothing memorable where, stay stuck in my head.
Because you had to scrape it off and start over from scratch?
I've had some, but it doesn't bother me. It comes with the territory, man. You can't fall in love with it, all the time. It's like, oh, well, now I got to be racist, and do it again. It's part of the game.
So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
One screw up, I guess.
No.
What do you say?
If you could be remembered, what you want to be remembered? What would it be?
From me, is if I could be remembered. What you're saying? I don't know, man. I just I really don't know. I just want to
cover.
Huh?
You have your magazine cover in a frame?
Yeah, I got my magazine cover in a frame. I got a plaque with it or whatever. I mean, that's cool, But as far as being remembered, I really don't know, man. I guess I kind of always wanted to be one of the cool kids. You know what I mean? Growing up, everybody wants to be one of the cool kids. So if I could be remembered, like, hey, that dude's pretty cool. That's fine with me.
Yeah. So what's your biggest pet peeve?
In general or in airbrushing?
In airbrush?
In airbrushing, my biggest pet peeve.
And what you gotta have done before you start working, or what do you have to have done before you start working?
Um, I think my biggest pet peeve with airbrushing is probably like, uh,
I know these crazy questions. These are the last ones too. It's two more.
I think what my pet peeve with airbrushing is probably more with like some of the people. I don't think it's really like the artwork stuff. The artwork, you can do whatever artwork you want. But some of the people, I feel like they get a little too big headed, and they make it like a competition or something, and it's like a competitive thing, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a pet peeve for me because like winning is cool and all that, but like you don't got to be a dick about it. You know what I mean? Like just if you're gonna win or whatever, then you won and cool. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm not sitting out there to try and beat anybody or intimidate people, and then like in Spanish, people say like they're acting chingon. You know what I mean? Like don't act all chingon, dude. Like like I think that's my pet peeve is when guys get so good or get to a certain level, they start to act chingon, and that's just stupid. Or they act big shot or whatever. It's just like that bugs me. Because like we can be cool. Like we didn't got to talk about paint and whatever. And we cool, but you start acting like this or that. Like that's not cool. I try not to
Yeah,
act you know,
like you the shit.
yeah, yeah, that bugs me a little bit. But I mean, people are just wired that way, I guess. But that's why I just try to stay in my lane. I just stick to myself, and I don't say nothing about it. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it is kind of a pet peeve. You know. But what was your other question?
Uh, what's one thing in your business venture that you did not expect? That you did expect? So once you start your own business, What's the one thing you didn't expect to happen?
Honestly, that I would have to wear all the hats all the time. I kind of felt like maybe I could wear some of the hats, and somebody else would just kind of like voluntarily be like, you know what, I'll wear some of these hats too. But no,
Nah.
when it's you, it's like you got to wear all the hats all the time. I kind of thought maybe some people would kind of key in or whatever, but that's not what they want to do in their life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is what I want to do with my life and my career. So I have to wear all the hats, and that's it. But other than that, yeah, that's the only thing. Once I learned it's not a big deal. But that was kind of what I thought. Like, oh man, if I do this or whatever, I'm gonna have all these people that want to help and join in or what. It's not like that, and that's probably the biggest disappointment. But once you learn that, you get over it, and it's like, whatever. I just got to make it happen.
My son wanted to come work. My son wanted to come work at my shop. I'm like, no, go get your real job, experience
Yeah,
your own life first, and then
yeah,
worry about it. I get people coming all the time. I keep telling them I got like maybe 2 or 3 years. I'm ready to quit.
yeah,
Oh, you don't have your son ain't gonna come take over for you? Nah, they're not interested in it. And besides, I
yeah,
told them
yeah.
to go find real life before, and nobody's gonna love it the way you love it. They're not gonna take care of it the way you take care of it.
Exactly. They're not going to put that passion into it and all that. It's
Yeah,
more like
yeah,
it's more just the motion of doing it. I got to get this done, and there's no love there. But yeah,
yeah,
that's that. But yeah,
yeah. You would
I
expect,
don't want.
like me, I would expect my kids to take over. But once I'm gone from there, the next person go in there and take over.
Yeah,
Ain't nobody gonna remember me.
yeah, and I don't want my kids either to follow in my footsteps. I feel like, I mean, kind of as far as like art and pursuing your goals or dreams or something like that part. But as far as like being a custom painter or something, I don't want my kid really to be a painter. Like
Good.
get you a job. Like you see like these because he's going to school for graphic design. So like you see like when you're watching the NBA finals or something, and there's this uh what do you call it, a graphic that comes across the screen. It's like NBA, da, 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 and it's like doing all this crap. Like, get you a job doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, draw stuff and do stuff, and then there's a big money in there, like marketing and all that. Like, that's a whole another field. Don't work outside the 100-degree weather and whatever, like your dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no disrespect or nothing like that, but I don't want him doing that. You know, like no,
you want something different for them.
Yeah, it's easier, more higher paying careers out there.
Yeah,
you know, to apply art with. So, yeah, but yeah.
Oh, you know what? The last one is already asked you. The one lesson that your job has taught you, you think everyone should learn. That was the last one. I already asked you that one.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't want to come off as being salty or something like that. Like if up and coming airbrush artists are watching this, it might be like, oh man, this dude, he's talking good about painting and trying to, I'm not trying to recruit nobody, but I mean, it is a good field. I am happy with what I do and all that. It's a really hard road to go down and try and get work and keep a steady flow and finish the work in a timely manner where your bills line up with you getting paid and all that. That's tough. I mean, but yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. If I had to go back and redo whatever, I'd probably do it all exactly the same. I don't know if change anything.
Honestly, I think I've been successful in this life with this job.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do. I started late.
Yeah.
I think I done everything in it. I'm happy with it. If I had to do it again, I probably would do it earlier and finish it. But I would trade for the world. Yeah.
If I had to do it again, I'll go harder. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I held back a lot of years. I held myself back and I doubted myself. I think if I could go back and do it again, and like just have a little more confidence and just do what you think you're going to do, and just don't worry about what they're going to say. Just do it. You know what I mean? Like instead of biting my tongue or holding back. So
yeah.
That's probably it. But yeah, I would do it all over again if I had to.
Yeah, I mean, I made some good money, lived a good life, bought a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's a good craft. It is if you work it. And like I said, I've been knowing you for like 10, 15 years. This is the most we ever talked. But I always say, I know you be getting mad when I be sending the people to you all the time. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that no more. Let me give you Verrick number real quick.
I don't mind, man. I mean, everybody, they'll want something. I'll at least hear them out, see what they say. If it doesn't seem like it's for me, then I'll tell them like, hey, I don't think I'm your guy, but I don't mind, but yeah, it's the most we talk. I don't do much, man. I wake up, work, come back home, eat, go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So
well, November coming, so it's gonna be a lot of people coming to my shop. So let me give you a Verrick number real quick. Let me so you.
All right. Yeah.
If everybody want to get their helmets done for the bike rally or their bike motorcycle.
Yeah. Sometimes I turn them down. I ain't gonna lie, because they're just not worth it. Some people don't want to pay money to paint a helmet. You know what I mean? And there's guys that they're like charging like thousands of dollars to paint one helmet. But trying to get that out of somebody, it's few and far between. So some of them I just turn them down just because they don't want to pay. A lot of them want to paint a helmet for $50 or $250 or something.
They don't know what it takes to do all of that. For y'all, anyway, y'all do more process than me. I scuff it, paint it, and send it on its way. But
me, man, I'm real picky. I'll take it apart. Some of them have like headsets in them and crap, and all that stuff's got to come out. I hate doing that, But and then they'll all have a rubber that goes around on the bottom, and like I hate taping those up and not taking them off. It just looks cheap, and then once you're done painting and it leaves the edge there, I don't like that. It's just me, but yeah, just certain stuff. Yeah. Some I'll look at them and be like, I don't want to paint this helmet. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, well I appreciate your time. I'm glad I got you on. Man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was actually surprised you said yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind, man. This is my first little podcast or whatever, even being on a Zoom meeting. Like I've never even been like in a Zoom meeting or nothing. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, I end up like not knowing what to do with my eyes, because like you're not in front of me, so I don't know where to look. I'm like looking at you, but I'm not looking at you, and I look at the camera, and it's like I don't know, it's weird. So
everybody tell me I keep moving a lot. I'm always moving like I'm a crackhead. I'm scratching and shit. I'm moving around.
I know. I see mine. Like I have my laptop on the table, and every time I move the table, it's shaking. But
yeah. But all right. So this like I said, I'll send you a link, and I'll so you can like send it to some people you want to look at it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll post it on my wall or whatever on Facebook, and if people want to watch it, we're already an hour 15, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that's good, man. That ain't bad. I try to keep it on an hour, but you still did good.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'll post it up or whatever. I'm glad you asked me. I'm honored. It's cool, man.
That's good, man.
Hopefully, do some more or something later or whatever,
Yeah, you can always chime in. Whenever you see me on, man, just chime in. We'll jump you on there.
Yeah. I was even thinking of doing one in studio, but I don't know where you do them at. Do you do them at home or do them at your shop or where?
What? No, it could be anywhere. Like I could be at the shop, but we could do it the same way.
Okay, because I thought about like me being up in the studio and being there in front too. I'll go over to your place and we do another one. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I'll throw you on there again whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
Okay, you too, man.
All right. Good night.
Okay, later.